Everybody, welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. I'm here with the miserable liberal and Ron Placone.
Ooh.
I'm miserable.
So guess what? We all know this. You know this, right? So 9 out of 10 people in the United States want DACA. Sounds like a no-brainer, right? The Democrats don't even have to fight for it. They just don't even have to make a case. Well, turns out they don't stand for it. Senate Democrats voted for a 3-week government funding extension Monday, Republicans and liberal progressives seem to agree about one thing: the Democrats caved. So Chuck Schumer and Dick Durbin completely cave in to Donald Trump. That's who they're caving into, by the way, Donald Trump. So it's so bad they're caving, then even Democratic hacks like Jamil Smith says the Democrats appear to have caved. Rather than continuing to insist that DACA, opioids, and their other demands be addressed, it looks as though they have taken a deal to end the shutdown that relies upon a Senate Majority Leader's promise. If so, they are fools. And so they totally capitulate to who? To Donald Trump. That's who the Democrats are caving into. The most unpopular president in the history, they're caving into him. And how does Trump reward them? How does this good working relationship turn out for them? Big win for Republicans as Democrats cave. That's how he rewarded them. He went on Twitter and told everybody they fucking caved. Because they did. And what did they do again after they? So that pissed off the Democrats so much, they decided to double cave. They double fucking caved. Budget talks progress as Senate Democrats drop the Dreamer demand completely. And you can't see this, but at the bottom underneath this picture, it says, we're viewing immigration and spending on separate terms because they are on separate paths, Senate Minority Whip Dick Durbin said. That they're viewing immigration and spending on different terms because they're on different paths. That's why he said they're doing it.
It's almost like Dick Durbin went to the Republicans and he was like, we're going to cave, so how do you guys sell this bullshit?
Yep.
And then, they're on 2 different paths. Oh, 2 different paths. Got it.
That's
got
it.
it.
2 different paths.
All right, 2 different paths. Copy, paste, leave.
So here's the part. So here he is saying that. So here's what's being left out when this is being reported. When you see this reported, even in Politico, they report, hey, they caved. Everybody's saying they caved. What they're leaving out is why, because that's not why. The reason they caved is not because they're on separate paths. That's just like Ron said, that's a bullshit way to try to sell this. The reason why they did that was because their donors told them not to shut the government down, and I don't give a fuck about the Dreamers or the DACA or anybody else. Do not shut government down because it costs donors money. And that's why they did it. And I know there's a lot of people who think we're still being ridiculous by not supporting corporate Democrats. You're being ridiculous for not supporting. So all those people who wag their finger are you still wagging your finger? Yes, they are. I blame Susan Sarandon. I don't know who you blame. I'm sure all the DACA people are going to blame Susan Sarandon and probably Jill Stein or the Russians or James Comey or WikiLeaks or Julian Assange or, I don't know, me or Ron or Steph. I don't know who else are they blaming today? Anybody except the people with power. And the reason they did that was because their owners, which are their donors, told them. They told them to do that. That's why. And that's what people are leaving out of this equation. But the House Democrats have signaled that they are not ready to go along with a long-term budget deal without a fix to the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA. So now we're going to have to cross our fingers that the Democrats in the House go along with something that has 90% approval in the country. That's how unbelievably bought your fucking Democrats are. How could anybody in their right mind wag their finger at anybody who won't support this shit? How could anybody? I just happen to be out in front on this. I wouldn't vote for fucking Hillary Clinton for the same goddamn reason. You got to vote for Democrats. They're not the resistance. The Democrats are not hey, we're way more fucked than people think. And if Bernie Sanders doesn't try to fucking prop up a third party right now, you're in for a shitload of headaches. Because you don't think they're going to fuck over Bernie Sanders when he tries to run in the Democratic primary again? You don't think they're going to everything? You don't think they're going to find a picture of him with a dead goat? You don't think they're going to do everything? Right now, he's got a $700 suit coat jacket. Did you know that? Do you know that he went and he had dinner at a steakhouse that cost $60 a steak? That's the kind of shit they're reporting right now. So to me, it's way worse. So there's a little bit more to this. We are insisting that these things be in the same negotiation, said a senior House Democratic aide. So the House Democrats seem to be having a bit of a spine. To us, what's important is, are their talks linked or not linked? To us, they're linked. Meaning you can't do a budget without DACA. They're linked. Dick Durbin, Chuck Schumer, says they're not linked. They're totally separate. Why? Because their donors told them to say that. Dick Durbin is a spineless piece of it. Dick Durbin doesn't have the guts of an 8-year-old. Dick Durbin is not your friend. Dick Durbin is working against you. The Democrats are working against you. They're not working against the Republicans. They're not working against the Russians. They're working against you, the Democrats. And now we're supposed to vote for the Democrats. Or we're being ridiculous, as that sexual harasser from Minneapolis told us. Senator Patty Murray, Democrat from Washington, another member of the Democratic leadership, said that although she would prefer a deal to protect young undocumented immigrants be part of a budget negotiation, the agreement reached with McConnell could make that impossible. I'll throw it over to my panel.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable that, I mean, basically their whole, well, okay, we'll compromise. We'll talk about it in a couple weeks. And then before the couple weeks has even gotten here, they're like, we don't need to talk about it. Or, yeah, we'll probably, if we don't talk about it, we'll just go along anyway. It's like wow, you're the worst. Man, if anybody, you'd be the worst debt collector in the history of the world. Hey, are you going to pay for this? Yeah, but, well, 3 weeks from now. Okay, well, if you don't pay 3 weeks from now, that's okay, but you should.
Do you see how Trump is not the problem, right? So you see how Trump is not the problem. The problem is the corporate-owned Democrats. You see that, right? Because that's why they won't stand up for you, because their donors told them not to stand up for you, and so they go, okay. And it's not like they're afraid to stand up to their donors. They don't want to stand up to their donors. They want to do whatever their donors say. It's not like, oh, I wish I could stand up to them. They don't want to. They don't give a shit about you. February 8th, we're going to have another stopgap bill, but we have to have the budget agreement in order to move forward. That's the goal, Murray said. And then the deal is that if DACA is not part of that, then it will be the next thing considered. This is the Democratic leadership.
So, Jimmy,
well, first we have to give the Republicans everything they want, and then we cross our fingers and hope that they do the right thing. And by the way, they're only asking for one thing. They're not even asking for it, by the way. That's how bad of when you negotiate, you go, we want 10 things, just like the Republicans are doing. They want we want border security, we want this, we want that. They want a million things. You know what the Democrats come? We want one thing, you can't have it. Okay. And it's because they're paid to not represent you. And they don't represent you. And you're stupid if you vote for corporate Democrats. And if you wag your finger and tell other people to vote for corporate Democrats, well, shame on you, you soft brain, elitist, well-to-do, stupid idiot. You know, the only people who wag their finger at me about not voting for Hillary Clinton are people who grew up in cul-de-sacs. I'm sorry, Steph, I cut you off.
No, Jimmy, I don't have faith that in March the Democrats are going to have a spine.
They're not going to have one. Steph, it's not even about having a spine. They have a spine. They stand up for their donors. They have a spine. Dick Durbin, when he's doing this, is showing that he could stand up to his voters. He doesn't stand up to his donors. He has a spine, and he's standing up to his vote, the people, his constituents. That's who he shits on. That's who he wags. He doesn't stand up to anybody else except his own donors, his own voters, and says you can't have it. Why? Because you voted for me. Because you elected me. Why? Because Trump. And then they give Trump everything he wants because they're bought by the same people. And that's what you won't hear on MSNBC or CNN or at ABC or in the Washington Post or the New York Times. Why is this happening? This is happening because they're bought, because our politics is broken, because people think Barack Obama was a good guy and he left office with frickin' $85 million in his bank account. And the banks got bigger, and the fracking got bigger, and the wars got bigger. That's how broken our politics are, that we think someone like that is good for us. That somehow things would have been better if we just get more Democrats. Negotiations have already get this. You ready for this? Here we come. Negotiators have already agreed to a massive boost to the Pentagon's budget. That's what they've already agreed. The Democrats have already agreed. So last year they gave extra $80 billion to the Pentagon. That was more than Trump even asked for. By the way, we should be reducing the Pentagon's budget, and they keep pushing it up. So now we spent another $80 billion last year, how much is that money? What does that mean, $80 billion? Like, what could we have gotten for that? We could have gotten free college for everybody. Just like that. Just like that. So when they tell you, oh, Congress moves slow and things don't happen overnight, they're full of shit. That's what they tell you when you want something that's good for you. But if you want more bombs and more war, they already did it again. They already did it. That's already been taken care of. So while the figures are still in flux, multiple sources say Congress would raise the military spending by at least $70 billion above the caps for fiscal 2018 and $80 billion in fiscal 2019. We could wipe out all student debt with that. Just that increase. Just that increase could wipe out all student debt within 10 years. It could send everybody to college for free. So when they tell you we're broke, who's going to pay for that? Those are idiots or liars repeating corporate talking points. What remains is how much to spend on domestic programs. So they can't figure that out, including everything from Homeland Security to the Department of Education. But we got the war budget, right? We got the war budget. These are Democrats. We're viewing immigration and that same stupid quote. So there we are. There we are. Let me take a look at his stupid face again. That guy is a liar, and he's lying not to the Russians, not to the Republicans. Dick Durbin is lying to you. He's a liar, and he's completely corrupted and bought.
You know,
he's not a good guy, not even a little bit. Dick Durbin is your fucking enemy. Sorry, Ron.
Well, I was just going to say, no scientific study that I know of has been done yet, but I'm pretty sure that's the face one naturally makes when they memorize a GOP talking point and spit it back out. I think it's safe to say.
I have no idea how anybody in this country isn't screaming at the top of their lungs and calling for a revolution. Your government is completely working against you. Completely. They literally they could wipe out everybody could go to college for free like that, and they decided, fuck it, we're not going to do that. Just like that. I have no idea why there isn't a revolution happening in this country. Oh, I think I do. I think I know why. Because because everybody in the media tells you can't. Everybody in the media wags the finger. I say, you got to vote for Hillary Clinton like she's some savior. This is who you want me to vote for? This? Imagine the kind of shit Hillary Clinton would be doing if she was president. Imagine what she would be giving into to the Republicans in the Senate and the House. Imagine. Here they are with all the power. They can't open government back up without them. The most unpopular president in the history, the most unpopular Congress. The only other bill they could pass was a tax bill that everyone hated. And this is them. The Democrats are not your friend. This guy is working against you. This guy is a liar, and he's lying to you. Oh, my God. And you're not going to hear that. You're not going to hear why. You're not going to hear why. By the way, Rachel Maddow and Chris Hayes will tell you that this is smart. I'll bet you any money they tell you this is smart. I can't watch their shows anymore because I like to eat dinner. And it's hard to keep it down if I watch their show. They're disgusting. So there you go. You're being ridiculous if you don't vote for this. I must be a Putin puppet. These motherfuckers are working against you. They're not even in bed with the Kremlin. What's their excuse? What's Dick Durbin's excuse for working against his own people? By the way, he wants to cut Social Security and Medicare, Dick Durbin. Just so you know. He wants to cut Social Security and Medicare. This guy's not your friend. He's the leader. He's a leader.
Well,
anything else?
Well, I was just going to say, like, when you were talking about MSNBC and stuff like that, people like to make this excuse like, oh, well, this is all about compromise and bipartisanship and throw those platitudes out there. And it's like, well, okay, here's what's going on contemporarily right now. One party is coming up with policy ideas that benefits nobody, that 90% of the public is against, and another party is not resisting it at all. That's not bipartisanship or compromise. That's a government working against the people. That's a broken system.
We have a broken system.
And, we've talked about this before. Look at our budget and see what we value. And what we value is war. And we're disposable. All of us are disposable. War, that's a money-making enterprise right now. Yeah. And it's killing our country, and it's divided our country. And, Jimmy, when I watch this, I just, I was doing the research about, Hispanics in America. That sleeping giant should exit the Democratic Party and join independent parties. And we should all get more involved. Because they're fucking us.
Well, the Justice Democrats were a good idea.
In theory.
Too bad the Justice Democrats are all staffed with a bunch of knuckleheads. Their candidates are good. The people who are in charge.
Well, their candidates are great.
Their candidates are great. I like the Justice Democrats candidates. The Justice Democrats as an organization leaves a lot to be desired.
Like we're looking for a progressive movement. Progressives on significant issues that are progressive in the way that they behave and not reactive.
Please make sure you're subscribed, or else the goddamn corporate Democrats win. You think you're subscribed? You're not. I know. I get video every time. There's comments saying, "Hey, I thought that was a joke about being subscribed. I was unsubscribed when I checked." Yes, for whatever reason, they do not want you to watch these shows. What do you think? And check, I bet you're subscribed to CNN or MSNBC on YouTube, and you didn't even do that. They just subscribed you. Check. Make sure. So if you care about independent news and if you care about telling the truth about this shit, please make sure you find a way to support the show. You can do it lots of different ways. You can buy a mug, t-shirt, come to our live show in Austin on the 25th of March, or on February 16th, we'll be in Burbank, California doing a live Jimmy Dore show. Or become a patron. We give you tons of extra content every week. Thanks for your support.